Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Tyler.
You did it! Tyler did it! It's Tyler's first time on Nerdtainment, you guys. Everyone say hello, say welcome.
Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing?
Yay! You guys, Tyler is here to talk about Big Brother. We had our Wednesday Veto episode. But first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. And Tyler, how are you? Welcome.
Oh my goodness, I feel like we just we're on a roller coaster. I'm like rolling my eyes at like some like Ray photoshopping them out of the backyard 1 second, and then I need like a therapy session after what happened with Tiffany and Claire. So I'm all over the place tonight, but I can't wait to break it all down with you, Sarah. Thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah, yes, thank you for coming. It's been long overdue. Tyler and I have chatted on Twitter for years. I feel like it's been now.
Literally for years.
Yes, and if you guys don't know, Tyler's over at My Weekly Meltdown. That is his channel, so make sure you are subscribed over there and following him on all the social medias.
Yes. And I'm sure you'll be making an appearance sometime soon. We got to figure that out because we literally talk back and forth about like, we got to come on each other's shows. We're like always tweeting back and forth and everything. So we got to return the favor to you pretty soon here.
we're finally making it happen here. Okay. All right, you guys. Yes, Tyler already set it up. We're going to go from goofy gimmicks to legit heartwarming conversations. Real honesty is happening. Yeah. But let's start at the top when Xavier's being Xavier. And he was not supposed to see the block this week, you guys. And I was like, cut to Chrissy in the rule book. Did it say somewhere that Xavier wasn't supposed to see the block this week? I missed that rule.
I know. Well, Sarah, you have to admit, like, Xavier has been so selfless this whole season. There's just like no selfish behavior going on whatsoever. He's loyal to the Cookout, like even Tiffany included, 100%. He's with them, and all he's done all season long is just sacrifice, time and time again. I'm on the block for the third week in a row.
Sacrificing left and right, you guys. Yeah. He just kept throwing out such great language, like he shouldn't have to do this, and he's a Taurus. I get it. Tyler, what's your sign?
I'm a Scorpio.
Okay, you're a Scorpio. You're like Big D. Big D's our Scorpio this season.
That's the only thing we have in common.
Well, our stubborn Taurus in the house, Xavier, he has a lot of shoulds in his book, and he should not have to do this. Great. Well, you're going to do it. So then we see Alyssa. She's asking Big D if he will play for her in Veto. We're all like, yeah, he doesn't win comps, so that's a good ask.
Right.
You can beat him.
Yeah, I mean, like, anytime, I liked Xavier's line of thinking that, like, listen, we need to stack the odds in our favor here, right? So if we're not going to pick Hannah for house guest choice here, we're going to stack it with Big D just to increase our odds because, just look at the records.
Exactly. Good call on their part. But then we're going to get back to Big D and X. And X this is his solid mood we've had to live with on the feeds for days. He really didn't give the editors much choice here. They had to include it. I mean, I'm grateful they included it because this is all very real. He's mad. He's upset. He's throwing tantrums. He's making sacrifices left and right by throwing comps, which, by the way, that was your choice, sir.
Right, and exactly. And like, I don't understand how you're expected to, like, throw this comp to Azah or Derek F, because that was, like, the big plan, right? But yet Derek F only lasted literally a minute and 41 seconds on the endurance competition. So, like, what do you want to do? Like, especially with, like, Azah and Derek F, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this, Sarah, as well, but, like, I feel like they are just so, like, entitled to, like, being handed an HOH to them, where, like, I don't understand why, like with the Cookout, there's, like, so much, like, fluidity in the alliance in terms of, like, who goes, doesn't matter, as long as it's not one of us. So I don't understand why, like, you can't, like, compete to win the power to make those moves and not be scolded for it like Tiffany has this week.
Yeah, it's super, super odd to see this. I don't know that we've seen this before, but the Cookout is unique, and their sort of inherent loyalty is unique, and the way they set up their +1 plan is unique. But in that, gave them this sort of weekly ritual almost where they micromanaged who was going to do what and who is the best HOH to make the move that we want to do. And it's unnecessary. You can still work together and protect each other without saying these people need to win HOH. But certain people, Big D being one of them, got carried through because of this alliance. And also Azza. I have a special place in my heart for Azza. But she's been carried by the Cookout, and she would have been out early any other season. And so she kind of got accustomed, both of them got accustomed to, like, you're going to throw us an HOH because it's our turn to, like, make these moves. And yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I'm not sure when the narrative changed from, like, because I feel like early in the Cookout, right? Like, we saw them being like, I'm fine with getting rid of Sarah Beth. Like Tiffany said all season long, I'm fine with getting rid of Claire. I don't know when that shifted to, like, no, like, we're thinking about, like, if Tiffany, like, screws us over here, we're going after her before Alyssa. Like, I'm not sure when it changed from, like, totally fine with getting rid of our person to, like, really just this, like, crazy micro grip on, like, no, Alyssa has to be the last person out of, like, the non-Cookout members to survive. It's very strange and a little hypocritical. And a little bit of a sausage fest. And I'm not crazy about it.
No, not loving this. Not a good look for any of these guys. But I'm really kind of glad. I saw mixed reviews on Twitter about this edit, but I was really glad that they just kept coming back to Xavier being so very hypocritical.
Burying him in the edit. And I love to see it because it's like, that's literally what it's been like this whole week on the feeds.
Yes. And he's the one in the, like, no edit has shown us anyone else say, well, then I'll just mess up their game. I'll take Alyssa down. I mean, the thought that you would take one of the last two non-Cookout members off of the block when that was your whole goal this entire time, like that, the audacity. I mean, that's huge to say that. And it is in the edit, sir. We all heard you say it.
Yeah. And of course, like passing this, like, idea, like brainstorming with Derek F on this is particularly bad because him and Tiffany have, like, really not gotten along this season at all. And that's
Big
why
D.
like this alliance structure is so special in the sense that, like, if it weren't for the cause, like, these people would have like turned on each other already at this point. Like, this is the only thing that's, like, causing them to, like, work together. And, like, I feel like all 6 of them cannot wait for the moment that they're able to, like, turn on each other and take one or the other out. So,
which is messy and fun for us, to be honest.
Yes, yeah, and I'm so glad, Sarah, that, like, we are getting a double eviction instead of, like, a triple eviction coming up, because I've said all season long on My Weekly Meltdown, like, like, this has been, like, a slow boil to, like, what is going to happen when it gets down to, like, the 6th, and we can talk about some double eviction scenarios that will happen, but, like, it will probably be Alyssa that goes out the door after Claire.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about it. But I'm just so glad that, like, we're gonna get probably the 6 of them in the house together for a whole and seeing that fallout for a whole week, right?
I really hope so. Yeah, I really, really hope so. Yeah. Let's once we get through this episode, let's definitely talk about how this double eviction can go. No, but yes, because it's super fun to think about, and there's a few different ways it could go. But yeah, so this conversation with Big D and X where they possibly might ruin Tiffany's game. Then we get a cute segment with my girl Azza singing her songs, Big D doing his dances. Tyler, how do you feel about segments like this? Do you like this?
They're good character moments, and, like, the show is pretty slow right now in terms of, like, strategy and what they can show. There was a lot of filler in tonight's episode, so like, weeks like this where it's kind of just like it's written on the wall what's going to happen, nothing's going to change. I'm okay with it. Do we need it, like, when it's, like, at like the 6th and it's like strategy heavy. No, I want to see like an accurate portrayal, but not really much going on, so it's fine.
I love it. Azza, I have sung her praises all season. She's a Sagittarius, and as am I, Tyler. And I have a kinship. Like, I love her so much. I find her to be so entertaining on the feeds. This is very separate from her gameplay.
Yes, thank you. And I'm glad that you can separate the two of them and be able to identify that, like, this is not like the next like Dr. Will or anything.
Nope. Nope. Not going to pretend that she is like killing it at this game, but she is killing it at entertaining me. I love her singing. I love her jokes. I find her very entertaining. And I'm sorry, but I go around singing The Big Blue Couch myself. Like, it's blue and it's white and it's blue again. Like, I'm here for it. And I can't believe it made the episode. So I loved this. I mean, yeah, we don't always need these fillers, but I was here for this.
I thought it was cute, and I feel like Oz has gotten like a few like little quirky segments this season. So I feel like they've like found their place in terms of like how to edit Ozza to be a little bit more present in the episodes, since like she literally strategy wise is like, I don't care. I'm just like so disinterested in like playing the game of Big Brother, whatever. Why didn't you throw the HOH to me? Like, why am I not the HOH right now? Like, yeah, I could have won it, but like, why didn't you give it to me? Like, that's literally all her game is.
She's like, sits in the bed and goes through like existential crises and like talks about inside the game, Ozza, and outside the game, and never the once then plays the game though. She just talks about it. Oh God, I love her so much. I don't know why, but I just do. Okay, so we're gonna pick veto players. Tiffany pulls house guest choice. She picks Hannah, and I was like, oh my God, we had an opportunity. She could have picked Claire, but she really couldn't. She'd already pissed so many people off. So
I mean, do you think that she should have picked Claire instead? Because I feel like if that happened, like Xavier and Derek F would be like, that's it. We're targeting her. We're done. Like, the cookout's over. You said screw the cause. And that's not the case at all, right? Because like she did put up Claire, but like they are just waiting for like any little thing to be like, yep, I knew it. I knew she was going to turn first, which is not the case.
Yeah, and to Tiffany's credit, I mean, not everyone is self-aware or observant, but she could see the writing on the wall. She knew that the men were very upset with her and she wasn't going to push it. Yeah. So, yeah, I wish that Claire had won veto? Sure. But that's just me being self-interested.
Yeah.
But no, it would not have been a good move for Tiffany. Xavier's going to pull Big D's chip and Alyssa's going to pull Oz's chip. And unfortunately, Claire's just not even going to get a shot here.
Much like a lot of I feel like this season, there have been like a couple like true backdoors where like usually it's not like this common, but like Christian went out that way. Derek X, I think, also went out that way, and I think Claire did as well now. So it's been like a theme of the season that like you are not even able to like save yourself in the veto. Not that it matters because of the cookout, but
yeah, it's true. Some seasons they can save themselves. Some just. The way the chips fall, you guys. Now we're gonna get Zingbot.
I can't believe that Zingbot has been around for over a decade now. When he said that, I had to like check the math because I was like, wow, was Big Brother 12 like over 10 years ago? Yes, it was. I was like, oh my God, I feel as old as Jerry from Big Brother 10 hearing that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and he hasn't been great the last few years, but yet we still love him. Yeah. I still love where he's coming from, even if he just doesn't land the joke completely. I appreciate the thought, I guess, is what I'm saying.
What were some of your favorite zings from this season?
Well, I mean, honestly, my favorite is Alyssa's, but it was because of her. Like, the zing was okay. She's from the Sunshine State, but she's dim. And she immediately goes, I don't get it. And you just can't ask for a better response to a joke about someone being dumb than them not getting the joke.
Yeah, and Xavier's like trying to help her out, right? He's like, listen.
He's like, shh.
Yeah, you don't let her zing, trust me.
Get it. Kylan's like, oh no, she doesn't get it. And we're like, yeah, no, we caught that. She didn't get it. That one, and then obviously Kai's. I mean, he's a babbling brook.
Yeah, but like, where's the lie? Like, it's very true. Like, anytime I turn on the feeds, I feel like two of the cameras are him just being like, listen, I'm trying to do what we can to make sure that we get to the 6 together, and I'm trying to talk out of like love and loyalty to you, and I'm just gonna smile with this like big old charming smile of mine, and you're totally gonna fall for it. So some more than others, wink wink Tiffany, but he just doesn't stop talking.
He really doesn't, and it is like a babbling brook. Did you have any favorites or ones that you didn't like?
I mean, I liked I've been singing for over a decade now, and it never gets old. You know what does get old though? Tiffany, which like, she's not even like that old, right? Like she's 40.
She's like 41. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, but like in Big Brother casting years, that is like the Crypt Keeper basically. But so I enjoyed that one. I don't know. The Hannah one was really lame. Knock knock, who's there? Hannah who exactly? I feel like they could have come up with like a better zing. Maybe about her like TikTok dances that she does.
Yeah, maybe. I saw people being mad about that one because they were like, you're just not putting her in the edit. But I don't think that that's what they mean. I think they mean like, she's kind of dry. Like she's not funny and entertaining. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they just mean she sits there and she talks nerdy talk about statistics and stuff.
Yeah. But if I'm Hannah, I'm like, oh, keep it up. Like keep like minimizing my target level, right? Like Hannah's already in like a fantastic position. And
right.
I feel
she
like
really is.
Zingbot is like kind of like pushing that for her a little bit. So if I were Hannah, I'd be like, oh man, I am so forgettable. Gosh, better forget about me at Final 6.
Yeah,
Final 5,
don't worry about
Final
me.
4.
Y'all don't worry about me. I'm just gonna fly on here till the final 2. Oz's was just cringe, y'all.
Yeah. But like she's the one that's been talking about it like all season long in the diary room, her crush on Xavier, which is like never going to happen. He's made that very clear. But I'm sure production's like telling her to say this stuff in the diary room, but like you had to know that zing was coming, Ozza.
Well, the thing is she doesn't, because she thinks that her and X I don't know, like it's not a two-way street, and she's not aware that it's not a two-way street.
Yeah.
And they were both like so awkward that day on the feeds afterwards, and he was like, I mean, I've never said anything to make them think that. And she was like, I'm not out here trying to look all bad, you know. But then she forgot about it, and she's back to just being in love with him.
I mean, Xavier says that, but then he also says, like, yeah, my type is Whitney. Like, if we were outside of the house, I would, like, totally try to date her. So, like, he's been saying these things all season long, but you know, Xavier's just so selfless. So, like...
he's so selfless. Yeah, we should have got, like, Big D's joke should have been about him sleeping or laying all the time. Like,
I wasn't sure we needed like a toilet joke.
No, we don't, because I don't pay attention to his toilet habits, so I don't get the joke.
One like tweet about like, oh, Derek F just blew up the toilet again. Like, what is that?
No, I mean, they did a whole edit on him sleeping everywhere. Like, why? Hashtag missed opportunity, guys.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, well,
Claire with Bigfoot. That's pretty funny. I like that one. That's good.
I mean, and that's fine. Like, I think that Tiffany's old, Claire's Bigfoot. Like, I think those are fine, safe zings. You know, like not too mean. They're things that they know about themselves. Like, Tiffany knows she's the oldest person in the cast.
Yeah.
Claire knows she's the tallest person in the cast.
Right, exactly. It's very like low-hanging fruit. It's very like surface level zings where like I want to see you like go for the jugular, Zingbot. I want to like have these people like be like cringing for their lives after this is over. So Zingbot, do better for next season. That's my homework for you.
I say it every year. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we've seen this veto competition before. We had it last year. Mm-hmm. This is iconically Davon's comp. She was the first to win the tiny veto, and they get to stack little tiny cocktail glasses. It's fun to watch because you get so tense. They fall over at the littlest thing. People are building and crashing. Some people were actually decent at this. Like, I thought Hannah and Azza were okay. Tiffany was almost there. Big D was almost there.
Yeah.
Xavier was the only one who was really bad at this.
Yeah, which surprised me because I feel like Xavier's like very just like chill and like smooth until this week. But like I just expected him to do better. But I feel like this is one of those comps where it's just like, how do you even like prepare for this? Like, play the game Operation a million times before coming into the Big Brother house. But I am glad that like clearly this veto competition is here to stay, and I like it because it's very like equalized. It doesn't favor like the men, which is like a problem with a lot of competitions in Big Brother. So, and this is the second year in a row that it's yielded a really interesting result. I mean, like Davon's veto win last year was like the like one of the highlights, one of the very few highlights, one of the tiny highlights, if you will, of the season. And here we are back again, and Alyssa wins the veto. So,
I mean, she didn't even realize how much she needed to win this veto, but she definitely wanted it, and she focused. And yeah, I think you're right. I think it doesn't really give any one person a leg up. Like, it's kind of a luck comp, but a little bit of skill is needed, and anyone can do it. Yeah. So Alyssa is going to pull this out. The one person that wasn't supposed to win it, but she didn't know that, so she won it.
I mean, this week was always going to be a gamble for Tiffany. It just was like very much so worst case scenario for her. It's really tough.
Well,
I just like I'm like speechless, you know. Like, like, what do you even do if you're Tiffany?
Yeah, I mean, she was really hoping to avoid this, but she knew that it was a possibility, and she would have to do what she'd have to do. There was a moment here, I wrote down the quote from Xavier that says, "It's not even Big Brother. It's just someone being selfish."
That's exactly the word that I had like written down on my notes. Sarah, is like, I feel like so many times like this episode we heard Xavier and Derek F call her selfish, when like the only thing that she did was win HOH. Like, she won an endurance competition, and she's still like, she's taking out her number one ally in this game, and yet like she is still being called selfish just because like you're on the block for like a third week in a row. Like, if I'm Xavier, I need to be thinking like, I need my threat level minimized, because like all of us on the Twitterverse are talking about how like Xavier is like the number one like front runner to win the season.
Yeah.
So I feel like on the block like multiple weeks in a row, I feel like that's gonna like shrink your target a little bit and kind of like make you seem more vulnerable than you are, like not as much like a mover and shaker. And I feel like Xavier needs that in this game. So like he's just so gung-ho and like keep like making sure that Alyssa is that last one outside of the cookout to stay in, that like I feel like that's like all he's like really thinking about right now.
It is. He is so blinded by Alyssa, so into Alyssa, but he's also, his game is very interesting to me, because when he won that HOH, and I don't think he ever meant to win that HOH, he was trying to not have power and have to make an opinion, but he was able to take out a house target. There was he didn't really have to get blood on his hands. He was taking out a house target, yet he was so scared of Brent finding out he was the target that he fabricated this whole setup.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't understand this gameplay. Like, why are you so scared? And then he has continued to make his decisions out of fear of conflict on him, right? Anyone being upset with him. And so I think in his head, Tiffany putting her closest ally up, like, to him, he could never in a million years have any conflict with Alyssa or have to nominate her. It just doesn't compute in his world.
Yeah. But that's the thing, like he is not a strong enough person to face that monster and deal with it. Where like he's saying that Tiffany's selfish when she is doing exactly what he is afraid to do himself.
Yeah.
Right? And like I don't understand like what more Tiffany could have done besides throw that HOH to like prove her loyalty to these boys and to the Cookout as a whole. It's just like I feel like they're just trying to like justify any which way that they can, even if it's like revisionist history. They're trying to justify like targeting her before Alyssa going into this level.
Yeah, they just want her out. She's not willing to play Xavier's game for him, and so many other people are willing to play Xavier's game. So he knows she has to go. And, why get Alyssa out when you could just get Tiffany out is basically how he's thinking. Although I just have a hard time seeing him go against the Cookout, but he is definitely tiptoeing that line right now.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, I feel like not many people are going to be competing, like actively competing to win this final 7 HOH because they don't want to be the sole member of the Cookout that is ineligible to play in the final 6 HOH, assuming that it's just the 6 of them left.
Yeah.
That's a very, very scary place to be. I've said on my weekly meltdown that I think the final 6 HOH is the most important competition of the season. And usually I think that's final 4 Veto, but this year is just like so different. And so like they don't want to actively take out Tiffany before Alyssa, but like if they see that like say like Hannah is knocked out of the competition somehow, like it's only like Derek F, Xavier, and Alyssa left in HOH, I feel like they're just gonna be like, oh, whoops, oh, gosh, I lost that one. Sorry, guys. Like, I really tried really hard for the Cookout, but Alyssa is just, she won that HOH fair and square. Oh, and, like, she doesn't even have to win HOH, right? Like, she could just win the Veto. Like, oh, gosh, I can't believe Alyssa won the Veto. Like,
yeah.
And like they're getting their cake and eating it too, because like then they can still say like I was loyal to the Cookout, like it just was like a bad circumstance of who won the HOH or Veto. When like realistically, and we've seen on the even in the episode tonight, they're like ready to pounce on Tiffany. So it's really not looking good for Tiffany.
It's not looking good for Tiffany, but I do feel like this edit was decent, you guys. It's just my opinion. It's hard for me to see how casuals watch this show, but we literally go from a scene where X is complaining that winning HOH is not playing Big Brother. It's just being selfish. Next scene is Tiffany saying, I know that they're upset with me for winning this HOH and do not want me to get my way. So I am going to put up Claire like I said I would. I want to frame it so that I don't endanger anybody else's game. I mean, we are literally seeing Tiffany being completely selfless and X being a whiny complainer hypocrite.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. And it's a shame that like ultimately it's Tiffany's gonna be the one that falls on the sword, I think, first out of the Cookout. I tweeted like a few weeks ago like what I think is like the boot order for the rest of the season, and I did it like before Derek X was evicted. So I said I think it's going to be Derek X, Sarah Beth, Claire, Alyssa, and then I think the first one out of the Cookout is going to be Tiffany. And this is where we're at. Like I wish I could come on here and say something different, because I feel like if Tiffany were to get to the end of the season, she'd be one of like the greats of Big Brother, right? Because she has been able to like balance the line of like strategy and like her own personal game, and also like fighting for a cause that's been actively like hindering her this whole season. We saw it like come to a head this week, but it's just I don't think it's gonna work out for her.
Well, fingers crossed, because I think she is already one of the greats, whether she wins or not. And she will go down in history as a legend. And there's still more game to play. Before we get to the really sad stuff, we see Unfortunately, we still see Xavier and Big D complaining, but Hannah comes in and she's like, you guys, she's going to do what she's supposed to do. And she's going to say she just had a deal. She has to put Claire up. And still, Xavier's like, no, you may not. That is not an option for you to go against my game in any way. You may not expose me. You may not mess up my game. Stop being self-interested and not playing for my self-interest. Okay, guys?
I mean, you should have won HOH if you wanted to like give like all of these like implications in terms of like how this week should have gone. If you wanted the week to go like exactly your way, you should have won HOH.
That's kind of how Big Brother works. You got to have the power. And yes, Xavier, your social game has been stellar and you are in a decent place. But you do not always get your way if you're not HOH. And now, Tyler, this is when Claire and Tiffany have their talk.
Yeah, I mean, so like I was at my cousin's wedding on Saturday, and like I had a moment, so I was like just like checking Twitter, and I saw that like it was going down right now, right? Like Tiffany's like telling Claire's like in tears. So I like turned on the feeds on my phone in the middle of the reception, and I was just like, oh my god, like I can't believe this is happening. Like poor Claire. And I feel like Tiffany did as best of a job as she could with like telling her like, listen, like it's for like a bigger purpose, but like not revealing that there was an alliance. The one thing that she did wrong, and I'm glad that the edit kind of like encouraged us to like think this way by doing like a little like shh noise, like a
snake noise.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. But like Tiffany said, like, or Claire like straight up asked, like, okay, I get that this is like a thing for like the cause, but like, is there like an official alliance? And Tiffany said no. Yeah. And I mean, maybe she's planning on telling her like tomorrow, right before the eviction, or saying something in the goodbye message. But like, I feel like Claire pretty much knows without the words being spoken. And
yeah, I mean, I don't think it's, I feel like the way Tiffany handled it was really, really good. And I definitely was like screaming at the feeds of like, be honest, when they were trying to convince her not to be honest. But she did, without being 100% honest, and she did lie about it not being an alliance, she said, I made the personal decision. I wouldn't put two of them up together to send, obviously that pushes the hand that one of them is going to go out. And I feel like anyone would understand that as just a personal, I don't want to do that without having to be in an alliance. So I did buy that, and I could see that maybe Claire would buy it. Ultimately, no matter what Claire believes in this moment, she says, I respect you. I'm not going to fight you on this. I get it. She's obviously devastated. She's sobbing and crying. And then her DR just like is just guts you, because Claire is so understanding and she does get it. And she talks about past seasons. We have all watched them, and it has been very hard to watch.
And I'm glad that like those words were coming out of Claire's mouth in the diary room rather than like Tiffany or Xavier or somebody.
Yeah.
And she said it spot on. She said, I know so many people won't get it, but I get it. And I just feel like that is like, if only like the Facebook casuals could really soak that message in and like look past like personal biases that they unfortunately have. But like, and I also want to say that like anybody that needs a little bit more convincing that this alliance is not problematic, go to Claire's Twitter account. Whoever is running her Twitter account is like providing a lot of really great resources in terms of like the Cookout's like uphill battle, not only in Big Brother, but like reality television in general and like society as a whole and everything. But Claire's being as good of a sport as she can. And to people saying that she's going to be a bitter juror, I don't think so at all. Like we heard her say on the feeds that like, please, Tiffany, make sure that I can still vote for you in the end.
Yeah. I loved this moment. I'm so sad to see Claire go, but we've had a heads up. We knew it was going to happen. And I think that because Tiffany handled it the way that she did, Her game is just fine from a jury standpoint. X thinks that she has ruined her game and will never get Claire's vote. And I think the complete opposite. Claire's going to enter a jury house that has a bit more information than they realize. I hope that Tiffany kind of says that it's an alliance in her goodbye message. But even if she doesn't, Kyland's going to say that there is an alliance, and Claire's going to have some pieces, and then Sarah Beth has even more pieces. DX, they're all going to put it together, and they're all going to agree they were all outplayed. And so far, I haven't seen anyone leaning towards being bitter.
Yeah. And I will say that, like, if it's not Tiffany or Kyland in the goodbye message, it's going to be some some interviewer for a news source online. We've seen a little bit of
leading questions.
Yeah, exactly. And somehow, miraculously, Derek X, once he gets to jury, he's like, oh, like, what if it's like these people? And I'm like, you were definitely like led to the saddle there, but. Yeah, so I mean, I feel like the cookout is going to be figured out like before, like they're able to like announce it to the jury. So
the first person in the cookout that goes to jury is going to be like, okay, I know I have to like explain some things, and they're just going to walk in and they're all going to be like, so this alliance, what's this alliance?
Yeah, right. They're going
to be like,
US Weekly told me about this.
You guys already know? Oh, okay.
We
thought it was a big secret.
And the whole reason that they are like saying that they're not going to tell anybody on the way out is because they're like worried about a buyback. And I wish that production would just tell them like there is no buyback, because I feel like we're being robbed of like Tiffany being able to tell Claire about the cookout, Xavier being able to tell Alyssa next week. Alyssa's going to be like even more crushed and probably going to take it a little bit more personally than Claire is, I think. But so I just wish that they would just tell the house guests, like, you know, due to COVID protocols, like just blame it on that. We're not doing a buyback this year.
Guess what? They are, I mean, technically we should talk about this in spoilers, so I'll save it, but it has to do with goodbye messages. So let's talk about it. To wrap this episode up, the veto ceremony is how we think it's going to go down. Alyssa takes herself off of the block and Claire is the replacement. They do not show us in this edit that Tiffany did a last second push to just see if she could get Alyssa to put Xavier up. But Alyssa already thinks that she masterminded getting Claire as the renom, and she's going to trick Tiffany on voting Claire out instead of Xavier. But we didn't get any of that in the edit.
Yeah. So hopefully,
because you know what, Claire's more important, so we don't need any of that.
Yeah, and plus, like, it's not going to happen. Like, they can make it seem like it's going to be like a close vote or whatever, but like, it's not going to happen.
It's not.
Claire's just like a dead man walking. So
that is the end of the episode. So this is when we go into spoilers. Tyler, give me some like jazz hands or something here while I go spoilers. Perfect. Gorgeous. Perfect. Love it. That's your best Big D dance.
Yeah, exactly. It's the Scorpio connection.
There you go. There you go. So they were talking today about the goodbye message. Azza has been on this, like, can we just tell people the truth for gosh sakes? And Tiffany is like, I'd love to tell Claire the truth in my goodbye message. But guess what? Xavier, it doesn't work for his game because he's too scared for Alyssa to find out. And so he would like this to not happen. So I don't know which way they're going to end up going.
I mean, just do it.
Yes.
Like, you don't need like people's, like, you can still be working together and not need like validation and permission about like every little thing. And I'm glad that Kyland is being a little bit more selfish in these goodbye messages and kind of sprinkling in some hints about the cookout, because I feel like it takes a little bit of ownership away from Tiffany and onto Kyland, when like Tiffany is the one who created the alliance.
Yeah,
that's another thing, Sarah. Like, she is more entitled than anybody to like write out the cookout and the goodbye messages, because she's the one that created it, because she's the one that is suffering the most gameplay wise because of this cookout. Just do it. What do you have to lose at this point? You're sending your number one ally home this week. Like, get something good out of it at least, right?
Yeah. No, if Tiffany does what Xavier wants for her goodbye message. Yeah, so far, Kylan has a bit of an upper hand. I don't really think it helps his game, though, because he's already lost all of those jury votes. But if Tiffany keeps it a secret just because the group has decided that for her +1, this is her +1 we are talking about, then that's just silly. And why are you doing that?
Yeah.
But yes, I agree. Alyssa, who will, odds are, be the next one to go out, if she does not get told and she walks into that jury house, all of them know she will then find out as soon as she walks into that jury house. And she now is the only one that might be super mad at Xavier.
Yeah. So we'll see. And then like, maybe that could get the ball rolling towards like a bitter jury. And then like Xavier says at the end, like, listen, I was selfless the whole time, but yet I lied about my career the whole time. Like even that is like very hypocritical in itself, So I just I feel like his like management of the cookout within the alliance structure has really slipped this week, which is terrible because like I feel like this HOH in particular has really provided Xavier the opportunity to like have a leg up to win the rest of the season. He just needs to cool his jets a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm telling you, it's like all up here. It's just this like paranoia that's just like going crazy. And it doesn't help him that he's brainstorming these ideas with Derek F, who like has like no grasp on like the actual situation within the cookout or the alliance structure. Or I mean, Derek F thinks that he's the one that created the cookout. He thinks that he's the one that's gonna like win against anybody at the end. So like brainstorming your ideas off of somebody who's like that delusional about the game and who are the shifters and movers within the alliance, not good. So like he needs to
it helps you to feel like you are correct, right? When they go, yeah. Oh, I know. Tell me about it. Yes. And you're like, thank you.
Right. Yeah.
All me. Yeah, honestly, Xavier has been sitting pretty for so many weeks here. If he just can zip it.
Yeah.
I think don't mess up your own game, buddy. All right, Tyler, talk to me about how you think this double is going down, because you're making me more worried about Tiffany.
Yes. So call me Jose, because scenarios. But, so I've been like running through this all week, just like the meme of the girl with like the math equation going on. And that is like literally me, because like there are just so many different little interesting situations that can happen depending on who gets power in this final 7 HOH. And I'm worried for Tiffany because Xavier's throwing it. He's telling Azza to throw it, and I feel like Azza will listen to him, sadly. Tiffany can't compete. Alyssa is going to compete. Alyssa has come like very close to winning HOH multiple times this season. So I actually think Tiffany's best bet is to really encourage Hannah that like this is your time to play in the HOH and win. And I feel like Hannah is the most like safe out of anybody going into the final 6 for like when the cookout turns on each other. So I think it's okay for her to be vulnerable in that situation more than anybody. So if Hannah wins that HOH, and then, gosh, like even if like Alyssa wins the veto, that's still good news for Tiffany, because then like Hannah's gonna put like she's gonna put Xavier and Alyssa up together. But then like say Alyssa wins HOH, like that's not the worst case scenario for Tiffany. Just put up Derek F next to Xavier, and then it's like one of the two of them that goes, because there's nobody left. So this whole like Alyssa like hinky like HOH or veto plan could still come back to bite Xavier, but he is just so guarded with like good odds going into the rest of the season, and it really comes down to who wins the HOH in these like upcoming weeks. More than like, I mean, we've seen like two sides like battle it out, and like depending on which side wins HOH is like where the game goes. But I feel like this season more than ever, like whoever is the individual HOH that wins power really determines like the river of flow for the rest of the season, right?
It really does. I think this is why getting down to this final 6 is so exciting, is because it's not a clear, okay, the alliance has a boot order, they all want so-and-so out first. It is not like that. They are already messy. half of them hate each other, the other half are loyal to each other, and then in between are shades of like, well, I'm not really working that closely with this person. I'd be okay with them going. So yeah, 100% is going to matter who wins the HOH to see which route this is going to go. I fully believe in all the scenarios that I ran, I only see an outcome for this double eviction, the second one in the double eviction, final 7, is either going to be Alyssa as planned, or Xavier, or Tiffany. Those are the only 3 I see going, and all 3 of those are like bonkers to me.
Yeah, it's going to yield an interesting result no matter what. So it just really comes down to like who wins power, and this veto is so important too. Like both of these competitions at the second part of this double eviction are really, really, really critical. I just really hope that Tiffany can slip by, because she is in a really tough spot here. And the only thing that's like that I'm giving her praise for this week is her and Kyland have reconnected. There's been some canoodling going on in the HOH room. I'll leave it at that, so you get your ad revenue. But I actually don't think that that's a terrible thing for either of their games. They've been the ones that have like won power and like have had to like make like difficult decisions with their power in the Cookout. And I feel like that can like come back to bite the both of them. And I feel like they need each other. And I would much rather see like Tiffany and Kyland pull each other along in the Cookout rather than Xavier and Kyland like bro out to the end. Like that's like what we don't want. At least that's not what I want. So.
Agreed. I don't want to see it, but Kyland and Tiffany have become closer, and Kyland is taking all of that information that Tiffany is giving him and spilling it straight to Xavier. And he's, to his credit, he's doing a great job of playing the middle. Tiffany was trying to get Kyland and Xavier to go after each other, and now Kyland has switched that around, and he is getting Tiffany and X against each other, and he will ride whichever way wins.
Smart. I mean, that's
so smart
really
for him.
Smart.
But I'm worried because of the canoodling that Tiffany isn't seeing the full picture, because she's like, Kyland is my shield. I'm going to ride with him. We're going to try to go after X. Like, that's the bigger thing for her. But I'm worried that she is missing that Kyland is playing against her at the same time. That's my concern.
What do you think a Kyland HOH would look like at Final 7?
This one at the double. So Kyland will definitely put Alyssa up. But I don't think he'll put Xavier up. And I don't think he wants to put Tiffany up. I think he would end up doing either Azza or Hannah. Those are the 2 who work with him the least, and he would like them to go first. So I think that's the way he would go. But if Alyssa came down, he would put up Tiffany.
That makes me really nervous for Hannah in that like particular situation, because like say it's like Azza and Alyssa up, right? There's no way that Xavier and Derek F would vote out Azza, because like they feel like she's like a lot more moldable than Hannah is in terms of like their direction forward in the game. But they don't want to give up Alyssa too. So if Kyland puts up Hannah, I feel like Derek F and Xavier take the shot at her. And then Tiffany would vote out Alyssa. I think Azza would vote out Alyssa.
Well, if Alyssa's up, she goes. They're not going to keep Alyssa.
You think so? You think like I feel like that's like too juicy to pass up for Xavier and Derek F. If Hannah and Alyssa are up there on the block together. See what I mean? Like, so like if like those 2 vote, and then the only other 2 votes are Tiffany and Azza. Let's say that they vote to keep Hannah, then Kyland's the tiebreaker, and then what does he do, right? Like, does he like take out Alyssa and then have like Hannah be mad at him when like he's the outgoing HOH coming into 6? It's
I mean, you have to take Alyssa out if she's sitting on the block. You guys can't be shady. You've then lost your jury. Your Cookout jury member votes. I think I think that's a guarantee. You can't
I feel
go
like they would
against the
justify
Cookout.
it as like, Tiffany, you were selfish in that HOH. Like, it shouldn't have been you.
Sure. But
Like, any way to like justify it.
yeah, they'll try, but don't you think the fact that she took out Claire says you can't try that with me? It doesn't work.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just
Sadly, like, perception is
logical.
reality. Like, and
Yeah.
especially for these two boys, like their version of reality is so twisted, so that like they are the hero of their own story and the thing for their house.
This is actually the one HOH. Oh my God, sorry, I knocked my camera. This is the one HOH that I think Kyland actually might not try to win. I mean, he's usually like, yeah, I'll throw it, and then he tries to win it, but he wants that 6 so bad. Yeah. And that's wise of him. So I think he actually will not gun for this. He'll sort of see how it's playing out. And I do think it's going to be a bit of a mental booth comp, true false, before or after, something like that, which
Hannah and Alyssa both do very well at.
Hannah, for sure. I don't know. Does Alyssa do well at those?
She's been so close in like so many of those like quiz comps or whatever. So yeah, so like with that being said, like, so Tiffany can't compete. Xavier's definitely not winning this comp. Derek F is I think he might try for it. I think Ozza will try for it, but
yes, I do. I do think Ozza will try for it. She really wants to. She's talked about wanting to. So even though Xavier's like, no, you don't have to, she has been like, no, but I still want to. But then she was like, I'm going to put you up next to Alyssa. And he was like, no, don't do it. And she's like, but I don't want Tiffany to go. If I put Tiffany up, you guys will take the chance to take her out. So I don't know which way Ozza would end up going.
Let's say Ozza wins HOH and she puts up, do you think she puts up Xavier and Alyssa together?
She knows that she should, but he has definitely been trying to get her to not do it. So I don't know. Does it work?
I don't know, but like, so let's say that she does, right? Like, let's say that she puts up Xavier and Alyssa. Very easy for her to do. Everybody would understand it. So I feel like that's the best way to like have her hands clean of any hot water that Tiffany's gotten herself into. But let's say Alyssa wins that veto in the situation. Like, who does Ozza put up as the replacement nominee? I think that's really interesting too.
I think, what did she say yesterday? Did I write this down? She did talk about that.
That's like Xavier.
Oh yeah. Yesterday it was Kyland. Yeah, that's it. Because she wants Kyland out if it's not Alyssa, right? She wants Kyland next. Although I did see her and Kyland had a talk today, and while the episode was on, she was like, I don't know, maybe he's not coming for me, but he should still be top of her list, even if she's like, I feel better about him. Who is she going to go for?
That would be another tie. Like, I feel like it would be like a 2-2 split. Tiffany would vote out Xavier. Hannah would vote out Xavier. Derek F would vote out Kyland, and Alyssa would vote out Kyland. So it would come down to Ozza to break that tie. So Kyland would be going out in that situation.
In that situation, Kyland would go out. But I think it might be a tie in a lot of situations because even like I was doing Alyssa's scenario. So let's say Alyssa, worst case scenario for the cookout, Alyssa wins HOH. She's going to put Kyland and Tiffany on the block. And she has been against Kyland for the most part, but this week Xavier has worked really hard on turning her against Tiffany. So Hannah and Ozza will vote to keep Tiffany. Big D and X will vote to keep Kyland. And which way Alyssa wind blows, I'm not sure at that point.
I think Tiffany is cooked at that point. She's the first one cooked out of the cookout, if you will. But that's the thing. Like, it's there's just so many ways that like Tiffany could end up being the one out if Alyssa wins a comp that she has no business winning. It's just so risky. This squeeze is so tight, like for this 6 at this vote, and that's why like this, it's just, I can't reiterate enough like how badly it is that like Claire is going out here instead of Alyssa, because the way that we're talking about like Xavier really has the one up, like it really easily could have been Tiffany if the wind just blew a little bit differently. So these comp wins are so important.
I mean, and I mean, that's why everyone was trying to keep their +1 as long as they could. That's why Xavier was so mad this week, because he really wanted her to be 7th, so that if she won that 7th HOH, she takes a shot at the ladies, and that helps him out. So it's going to be so tense tomorrow, which I'm already so tense during a double. Like, I'm already like, it's so fast.
And we have it 2 weeks in a row, which is like even better. But like, I just want I want to thank Big Brother Production for once in my all the years of watching this show. Thank you for changing your mind about the triple eviction. Because
I don't think they ever had a triple.
What's that?
I don't think it was ever a triple. I think that was just us being crazy people.
Listen, I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on and pretend that like we influence production in some way, shape, or form, which is like totally not true, because we're only like 2% of the viewership or something crazy like that. But
they don't care about us.
I'm glad that it's not a triple. That's all I'll say.
I'm so excited about a double because they will never expect it next week. They're planning for it. The backyard was closed early. They have an idea. They've been waiting for it all season. So this one they will be ready for, but next week's we'll throw them for a loop, and we already have a messy cookout, so that's great.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. I just, I've been very open that Tiffany is the best player this season, and so therefore I do want her to win. But I also understand you take that person out when you can. So I will be crushed if Tiffany leaves, but I will be understanding that they have to take that shot when they get to take that shot. So that's why I will just be on the edge of my seat.
Yeah. So I want to like read the boot list that I predicted a few weeks ago in full. So I had Derek X, Sarah Beth, Claire, Alyssa, Tiffany, Azza, Derek F, Kyland, and a final 2 of Hannah and Xavier, with Xavier winning this season. So
how did you get to this?
I think that once Tiffany's out, I think Kyland and Xavier are going to say, like, we need to stick together. And I feel
if Tiffany goes, then Kyland and X can basically win out and roll to the end.
Yeah, and I mean, like, what's the opposition, right? Like, where does Hannah go after Tiffany's gone? To Azza? No. Does Derek F or Azza have any agency within the cookout? No. Like, they openly joke about Derek F's game, like, to his face. So, like, once Tiffany's out, like, it is just smooth sailing for those two boys, and it's in their best interest to make sure that they stick together instead of taking each other out. So it doesn't end up with, like, a Derek F being, like, the winner representative of the cookout. So I think that they're going to come to a handshake agreement, and then say it like Xavier wins that final HOH, that's when he cuts Kyland, and then how do you not give him the win after that?
I have a hard time seeing Azza go out 5th. Kyland's the only one who'll take Azza out, but even if he put her on the block, I don't know. I mean, Xavier doesn't need her, so he will let her go. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe she's
it could just be a situation where like the wrong person wins the veto, right? And it's like the Chicken Georgian All-Stars, if you will. There's no way that all of us are gonna like agree on who to send out, so let's just send out like one of the easier people, if you will. Oz's not gonna fight it.
We do need to yeah, for sure. We should say Kyland is an unusual human being, and he's playing the middle very well between X and Tiffany, but he legitimately does want to sit next to Xavier in the end, because, and he said this, he said, I want to do the Cody. Like, if I can't win, I mean, he'd obviously like to win, but he would rather be the Cody to Xavier's Derek, which in no way is that a thing, but he would rather come in 2nd place to Xavier than to, I think what he's saying is like, I don't want to sit next to someone I think I'm easily beating and then lose to them. Like, I think is his deep down fear. So he'd rather go to the end with Xavier, but
I feel like people say this every season, right? Like, I want to take the best person to the end and beat them because I want to be an honorable winner of this game. But like, once the rubber hits the road, and like, let's say like Kyland wins that final HOH, and he's like having to choose between like a Derek F or Xavier on who to cut. Like, I would like to think that Kyland would make the smart choice there.
I'm not convinced. I think Kyland is so different.
We shall see. We'll see.
He's the one.
I'm just excited, Sarah, that like there's just so much game left to be played. Like coming down like the end stretch of the season. Like come like this time last year, everybody knew that Cody was going to win the season. Like the only thing that like shook up anything for a week was Davon winning that veto. But you could just basically just call the season done at that point. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's so up in the air. There are so many ways that this can turn out. And these comp wins are like so crazy important coming down the stretch. I can't reiterate that enough.
Yes. The cookout is messy. I'm so excited that we're probably, I mean, honestly, I want Alyssa out next just so that we can have the history of it and we can have those messy players stuck in a house together being as loud and obnoxious as they want to be. They don't have to hide it anymore. I would love to see it. I wouldn't hate to see Alyssa stay and X accidentally leave. I wouldn't hate it. If she's going to stay, make it really, really fun for me like that. But either way, excited for the double. I agree with what you're saying. It's going to be fun here towards the end. I think in another week or two, though, we will know who's the winner.
Totally. I mean, like, if Alyssa survives tomorrow night, I think go ahead and write the check for Xavier. That's, if she's not, like, the 7th gone, if, like, one of the cookout, if Tiffany goes before Alyssa because of, like, a hinky, like, HOH or veto win, go ahead and give Xavier the win. I think that's pretty
Tiffany would be working overtime in that jury to make sure that did not happen. But yeah, I mean, I feel like you can write the check to Xavier already. He's got a good, easy path here to the end, I think.
But I ultimately am rooting for like Tiffany and Hannah. I mean, like they are like the caliber of like women that we've had this season is just like chef's kiss, and I want that to be rewarded at the end. So like I'm sitting here saying like I think Xavier is going to win. That's just how I'm seeing the game play out. Do I want that to happen? No. Like if Hannah just like out talks him at the end and it's like a surprise blowout. Which could happen. I mean, like Derek Axe's in jury, Tiffany would be in jury, Claire would be in jury, Brittany, who knows where her head is at ever. But like, it's not impossible that happens. Sorry, I'm just like.
If Xavier gets to the end, he definitely has a case to win. If Kylan gets to the end, he definitely has a case to win. If Hannah gets to the end, she has a case to win. It's a little harder for Ozza and Big D, but. Obviously, Tiffany should win. But like those 4, they all have a case to win. If they can make it to the end, then they deserved it.
Yeah.
That's how the game goes.
One last question for you.
Yeah.
Like, where do you think that like so say it's like one of those 4 that you just mentioned win. Where do you think that they kind of like rank amongst like the other winners of Big Brother US and Big Brother Canada if you've watched that?
Well, it depends on which one. Like I said, like Tiffany, she's already
like the top, like
I think she's a top tier. If she wins, she's in one of the top best players ever. If she doesn't win, then she's like a Danielle Reyes, like one of the best to never win, right? She has already cemented herself there. I think, if Xavier wins, he had a stellar social game and we all give him props for that. Do I put him in a top tier? I personally don't. And then I kind of feel like it's the same with Kylan and Hannah. Like they definitely have some good skills.
Yeah.
They were not dragged along.
Yeah.
So they have the ability to win. Do I personally put them in a top rank? No.
So for you, it's like Tiffany and then like a lot of space and then like the 3 of them, basically.
Yeah, but like I put, do I put well, now if I say names, people are going to get really mad at me, but like,
listen, I can take it if you want to spit some names with me. They
what's
can come from
a
me.
winner? What's a winner that you think is good but isn't one of the best?
I mean, like, I always go to like Casey as like your like very average winner.
Yeah, that's a great example. Like I appreciated what Casey did well. She did do some things that were good, but do I rank her as a top player? No, I think Tyler deserved to win that season. So I guess, yeah,
would you put them above like Nicole Franzel in 18?
I have to put Hannah above Casey though, for sure. And I think I probably have to put Kyland above Casey too. But what won Casey her season? Her social game? So is that like Xavier? Oh my God, Xavier stands are about to kill me if I put Xavier at the level of Casey.
Well, I actually think that Nicole Franzel is like the more comparable of like where we would like put them in winners rankings, because like I feel like Casey's win was very much so a Tyler loss, like a vote for Tyler to lose, where like Nicole really had to like backstab a lot of her own alliance members to get to the end, which is similar to like Hannah having to turn on Derek X, Kylan having to be okay with like clipping Sarah Beth, Xavier being so selfless all throughout the season. So like maybe it's like within that range. And if that's the case, I think that they are better winners than Nicole Franzel, just because they had like more of a lock on the whole season, where like Nicole was definitely in some danger at some points, and like there were other entities in the house, like especially like Paul and Victor that season were like a really like driving force, where they had more of like a lock to that final six into the end game.
So to be clear, you give Nicole Franzel credit, right? You don't think that that's a Josh loss?
Oh,
I mean,
totally.
not Josh,
like,
a Paul
that's very controversial. Like, but I think
right.
that I would have voted Nicole in the end, and that would not have been as like an FU to
Paul
to Paul in any way, shape, or form. But
okay, so I agreed with that then, because I am a supporter of Nicole Franzel's win. I think that she plays a really good shield game. So I do put value on her game. And so, yeah, I'm comfortable with that as well, because I can see the things that Nicole had to do. But is she a top tier winner? No. So, yeah, I can put Hannah and Kyland in that position. Good God, if you guys get mad at me because you hate Nicole
Franzel. You guys can tweet at me. I'm the one who brought her name up first. So you can come at me. I can take it. That's totally fine.
We all have different opinions, guys. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Woo. All right. That stressed me out. All right. Great.
Sorry. I love all of this stuff.
I mean, I love it too.
It's just a silly reality show. You know what I mean? Like, and everybody, that's the beauty of Big Brother, is like everybody sees the story in a different way.
Yeah.
It's all.
I have to just be so careful to be like, I do see the value in their game, you guys, even if I don't think they're the best player in the whole wide world.
Yeah, totally.
But you can roast me because I love Azah. Like, roast me. She's my singing Sagittarius queen. I will love her for the rest of my life. Does she deserve to win this game? No. Like, perfect. I wish everyone could understand that their faves don't necessarily deserve to win the game.
Totally. Separate the personal from the game.
Thank you. And yes, thank you, Teresa. You tell them. You guys who joined us in the chat are always so wonderful. We appreciate you hanging out with us, giving us your thoughts and your questions. And those of you who are joining later, leave a comment. Let us know about how you feel about Claire, how you feel about Tiffany and what she had to do this week. How do you feel about X and his self-interest? I don't know. Where you want to see the double go, give me all of that information. Tyler, tell everyone what you're up to and where they can find you.
Yeah, so I am a co-host along with Allison Kelly and Beth Dixon over on My Weekly Meltdown. So we get a little raunchy. We get a little we just tell it like it is, and haters back off, if you will. So we recap on Thursdays after the live eviction, and then just like a Sunday, just like updates on like the state of the house type of thing. And then I think we're also going to do like a Survivor draft, I think on like the 17th. So always excited to like put the drafts together. I take those drafts very seriously. But so yeah, definitely check us out there on My Weekly Meltdown. And if you need a wedding photographer in the New York City or wherever, if the price is right, honestly, go to scratchstudios.co, not .com. And check out my work there and reach out to me. But yeah, you can just find me on Twitter. I just tweet about Big Brother all the time. So if you're looking to like interact with me about the season, that's definitely like the best place to do so. But please come check us out on My Weekly Meltdown. And Sarah, we really, really hope to have you on here very, very soon. I think we have like some guests lined up, but if not for Big Brother, like we'll definitely be coming out or reaching out to you for Survivor, because we are so excited about that.
I can't believe it. We're going to have Survivor soon, you guys. I too need to plan the draft and try to do like a full cast assessment. I've only done first impressions so far, but like, woo, the schedule is getting busy. I've got the circles starting tomorrow. Chantel is joining me on Thursdays to cover the first 2 episodes each week of the circle. Then on Mondays, Josh is going to join me, you guys, to do the next 2 episodes. So super, super busy with that. Also, Survivor South Africa is still going on. I do that Saturday with Chantel. And I think we only have 2 more episodes. So keep up with that. And then, yeah, tomorrow I'll be back after the eviction episode. Jessica Milagros is joining me tomorrow night for that. Woo, see, I'm exhausted just talking about it so much. But this is what we love, right, guys?
Yeah, that's what we're all here for.
Yay! Yes, Mandy, The Circle's on Netflix. The first 4 episodes dropped today, so catch up on that. All right, that's it. Give this video a thumbs up, please. Subscribe if you are not already. And I'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.